Well, congratulations to the UCF Knights. They are on their way to the NCAA tournament in year one under Rich Wallace. He joins us, the head coach of UCF. Also a Jacksonville area guy is Danny Neri, a Bishop Snyder alum, also an alum of Notre Dame, and he used his grad transfer to go to UCF. Guys, thanks so much for jumping on with us. Coach, I want to start with you first. How gratifying, how fulfilling is it for you to go back to the alma mater and in year one take UCF to the tournament?
Yeah, obviously, this getting the job at UCF and being able to come back home was an absolute dream come true. And then getting a chance to kind of build the program the way you want it to, and you talk about certain things, and you try to put that forward to the kids, and to watch those guys kind of take all of that and put it into action and get rewarded for it here with 35 wins and a chance to keep playing even past this weekend. Like it's been outstanding.
How special is it for you, Coach? You're an Orlando guy, a Bishop Moore guy. You graduated at UCF. I mean, how special is that for you personally to come back to your alma mater and coach these guys?
Yeah, and it's hard to believe. People would always ask me, well, like, where's the one place if you had to pick, like, where would you want to end up? And I was always UCF. It was always if I could ever find a way to go home and finish some things that I felt were undone here. But you never know. Like the things that have to line up, the timing of a lot of things that have to happen, and then you got to get somebody to believe in you. And Terry Mohajer, our athletic, gave me a chance that I'm going to forever be grateful for.
We're also speaking tonight with Danny Neri, who's from the Jacksonville area. He played his high school baseball for Coach Zach Osbeck at Bishop Snyder. Danny, you and I were talking offline. One of the very first interviews that we did on River City Hardball was with Coach Osbeck and a Danny Neri kid that was probably a sophomore in high school. Do you remember that?
I do. I was just saying, I was one of my first interviews, I think, that I can remember. That was a fun one. I remember that fondly.
Danny, how special has this 3 or 4 month run at UCF been? Because you graduated from Notre Dame and now used a grad transfer to come to Orlando. How special has this run been the last few months?
It's been awesome. It's definitely been a bit of a whirlwind. I was in South Bend, Indiana 4 months ago, and then having to come and get acclimated with all the guys and the staff down here. But it's been everything I'd hoped it would be. I've had such a great time, and like Coach Wallace said, to get to a regional in my first year here, his first year here, to get this program back to where it clearly belongs has been awesome.
And Danny, you have a pretty special relationship, I'd imagine, with Coach Wallace. He coached you at Notre Dame as an assistant with Link Jarrett, and now you come with him from South Bend to Orlando. What's your relationship like with Coach Wallace?
It actually goes back further than just Notre Dame. I've known him since I was probably 15 or 16 years old. He was working at JU, and
Yep.
Josbeck and Coach Hayes have a great relationship, and so those connections were made, and we met there and just kind of stayed in contact through high school. And I obviously ended up at Notre Dame, and we spent a lot of time together since he was the catching coach, and so it seemed like a really natural fit when he got the job at UCF, and I was looking for a new home, and it's worked out great.
Coach Wallace, I'm glad he said that because I was going to ask you about that. You must have known about Danny Neri for a long time, leading recruiting at JU for the time that you did, being an assistant. How long and how far back are we going that you first heard about Danny?
I want to say he was in the eighth grade. Like he was when I got the job at JU, he was on that initial list of Jacksonville area guys that we put together um, that we wanted to try to keep home. And I remember bringing him to camp, and I thought we had a shot at him, and he decided to go to Georgia Tech, but we still recruited him hard. And at that point at JU, you're talking like, I know you love Georgia Tech, but if you don't like it up there, you can always come home. That was kind of the pitch for me when I was at JU for Danny, and some things happened where he became available, and we needed a catcher at Notre Dame bad, and we brought him up there, and he fit in perfectly up there as well.
Coach, what's your relationship been like with Danny over the course of time that you've known him?
And when you coach not only Danny but so many kids, when it gets to this point, he feels like one of my sons. I got two daughters, and everyone's like, "Well, do you want to try for a third boy?" No, because I got 35 sons on that team, and I feel like he's one of my sons that I get to vicariously live through the stuff that he's done and watch him. And he's a special kid. Like obviously he's a really good player, but I brought him into two different locker rooms that I was in charge of, because of the person that he is, and the worker that he is, and I see him have the success that he's had, and he's earned and deserved all of the success, and he goes about it the right way. And that always doesn't give you the success that you want, but it is special when you see somebody like him that does all the work the right way get rewarded like he's being rewarded right now.
Danny, obviously the connection with Coach Wallace is very strong, but tell me why UCF was a destination for you.
Several things. First of all, I wanted to be closer to home. My last year, I'd been, like I said, up in Indiana for a while, and my family hadn't gotten to see me play very much. And so when the opportunity to move further south came, that was my plan. And then at the time when I entered the transfer portal, he hadn't gotten the UCF job. And so I was still looking at a couple schools in the South and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And then he got the UCF job. And then I heard that Norberto Lopez, who's our catching coach, got the job there. And I heard awesome things about him. And I had some familiarity with the UCF staff and the culture, and so many things just lined up that, it ended up that I was able to come to UCF and play in the Big 12 in a big time baseball environment. And it was everything I wanted.
UCF going to the tournament for the first time since 2017 in the field of 64. They're going to play in the Tallahassee Regional on Friday night at 6 o'clock against Alabama. Coach, we'll get to that in just a second, but I want to ask you about this specific team this year. 35 wins is a good year. Tell me about the group of guys that are alongside of Danny.
Well, I think you said it when you said the team. Like, I don't think anybody's going to evaluate us and say these guys have 10 superstars or 12 first-round picks, but these guys play together. They care about two things. They care about each other. They care about winning, and they've worked really, really hard and kind of grasped and taken a hold of everything that we've asked from them as a coaching staff. And you kind of see it on the field where it doesn't matter who they're playing. They think if they play their style of baseball, they got a shot. And you've seen it throughout the year. Like, not a lot of people before the year gave us a shot to even be close to it. And then we start the way we do. And then a lot of people think maybe we're okay. And then we lose the series and then we're dead again. And they've just fought through so much. They've been battle tested. It's been a really, really fun group to coach. And I hope I get to coach them for a few more weeks.
Danny, tell me about this team from your perspective. You've only been there a couple of months, but tell me about your guys that you play with every night.
Despite only being here for a couple of months, I mean, these are some of my closest friends. I'm as close with the guys on this team as I've ever been on any team I've played for. And Coach said it the best. We care about two things, which is winning and each other. And you can really feel it in the locker room. You can feel it on the field. And when we take the field together, again, like Coach said, there's nobody we think we can't beat. We know that when we play our best, we can hang with anybody in the country. And that's the plan going into this weekend and hopefully the weekends after it too.
Coach, this is year one in the Big 12 for UCF and your program. I mean, that casts a wide net when you're talking about playing for a program and really like a conference like the Big 12. What's your experience been like as a coach coaching in the Big 12?
Yeah, it's elite. Like, I've coached in the ACC, and there's really no difference. Like, it's elite teams at the top, it's strong teams in the middle, and there's no off weekends. The places you have to go, the environments, it's an elite level baseball conference with elite coaches and elite players. And I think it's really neat for our guys in our state that can play in this type of league and not leave our state and go experience the things we're at in Arizona State, and Utah to the league next year going in. So you're talking about things that normal Florida kids, when they're looking at this and looking at Power Conference, that they never thought they could experience. You get to experience it in our league, and it's been a blast, and it's only getting better.
Danny, what about for you? You've had experience playing at a high level at Notre Dame in the ACC. What's the Big 12 been like for you as a player?
It's as good as it gets. I mean, I've played competition in all the major conferences, all the best teams in the country, and the Big 12 is as good as it gets. Like Coach said, there's elite teams all over the place. Everybody you play has got a ton of talent. You got to bring your A game every weekend, week in, week out, and it's been a privilege to play in this league.
Final few moments here with Rich Wallace and Danny Neri from UCF. They're on their way to the Tallahassee Regional Friday night. They play Alabama. Coach, the Crimson Tide come calling Friday night. Tell me about this matchup in the Tallahassee Regional.
Yeah, you look at it. There's some interesting arms on that team that you're going to have to deal with some strikeout stuff. There's some versatility to the arms, and then if you just plain look at the offense, like, there's some thump in the lineup. There's some athletic guys. They defend. They have a young freshman shortstop that's really good. The third baseman's super talented. You're going to have to kind of match up with them and figure out a way to make it harder for them to score. And can you hang with them offensively? And they're going to be a handful, and we're excited for the challenge.
Danny, from a player perspective, the matchup against Alabama, first of all, you're in your home state again, back in Orlando, and now you get to go to Tallahassee, not too far away from Jacksonville, a little bit of time, but how cool is that going to be to play against Alabama in Tallahassee?
It's going to be great. I'm going to have a ton of family members there, like you said, not too far from Jacksonville. So really excited that my last college regional is that close to home. Alabama is obviously a great team. They got a great history. They earned their way in the same way we did and all the other teams in that region did. It's a really exciting opportunity to get to play those guys. And then hopefully if the cards fall the right way, get to make a run at Florida State as well.
Danny, a week ago tonight in Arlington, Texas, you had probably the game of your life. You hit 3 home runs against Cincinnati. I mean, describe what that was like.
Definitely the game of my life, far and away. I had never hit more than 1 home run in a game in college ever. And I only had 4 coming into the season. And so I was not expecting to hit 3 that night. It was just a crazy whirlwind of emotions because, I hit 3 home runs, but at the same time, we won a nail biter of a game that we took into the 11th inning after almost losing it in the 9th inning, and just up and down all night. And it took a while to come down from that one, but just really excited the way it all turned out.
And that's a Major League Park for those that don't know. That's in Arlington. That's where the Rangers play in the major leagues. But did you have like a pregame BP feeling that, man, I might have a pretty good game tonight? What was that like? I mean, any indication that you might have a big night?
No, not really. I mean, I really didn't feel that great in the cages. I wasn't walking onto the field and thinking, man, I'm super locked in. I'm going to hit 3 home runs tonight. Kind of felt like, every other night I was going to go in there and stick to my approach, work on hitting the baseball out front, and hopefully good things happen. And they did happen 3 times.
Coach Wallace, have you ever had a player of your own hit 3 homers in a game?
Not that I can recall. And I mean, the home runs that he hit were all like to put us up 2-0, and then it's a close game, and he hits one to make it 5-1, and then hit that ball in the 11th inning with 2 strikes on a pitch. If you go back and look at that pitch, that's not a pitch you normally hit out unless you catch it just right. And we had one of our other players, Matt Cederberg, our DH, is standing next to me in that inning, and I was like, man, you think Danny could just hit his 3rd one, like jokingly, so we can win this thing? And he hit it. I was like, oh my gosh, he did it. Yeah, I've never really seen anything. And down the stretch, he was so big for us offensively and defensively. He won the big hit in the 8th inning, the bottom of the 8th, to put us up an extra run against Texas. And great weekend out in Baylor. He had been swinging it really well. And I mean, you go back to the Oklahoma State, everybody talks about the home runs, but there's a block with bases loaded and 2 outs against Oklahoma State where he gathers it and then catches it and basically back picks the guy at third base to get us out of a huge spot. Like, we don't win those 2 games without Danny Neri, and it wasn't just the bat, but I will remember 3 home runs for a long time.
Yeah, that performance was pretty awesome. And 4 hits, by the way. It was just 3 home runs, but there were 4 hits that you also contributed in that game. Danny, do you have a favorite memory from your time playing high school ball in Jacksonville? Anything growing up that you I'm putting you on the spot with this one, but anything that comes to your mind as far as Bishop Snyder, Jacksonville when you're young?
Yeah, so I came into Bishop Snyder. We weren't really known as a powerhouse baseball program in Jacksonville. We won like 8 games my freshman year and 11 my sophomore year, maybe not even that many. And then I remember my junior year, we found a way to put it all together, and we had this 2-week stretch where we beat Trinity, Providence, and Bishop Kenny all in the same week. And it was like 3 teams that we'd never beat in my time there. And I remember after we beat, I believe it was Kenny, I remember giving Coach Osbeck a hug, and it was just such a great moment because we had really turned a corner as a program. And since then, the program has really taken off to somewhere that it never was when I was there. They've had so much success, and I'm just so happy to see the way it's turned out for Coach Osbeck and Coach Kellum.
And you might have heard of this Aiden King guy. Have you heard of what he's doing for your alma mater?
Oh yeah, I talk to Aiden sometimes. I knew him. He used to go to baseball camp when I was in high school, and so I've known him since he was little. So it's been awesome to see what he's doing there. I wish him all the best in the future. He's a great kid.
Final thought, Coach, is Jacksonville an area that UCF tries to nail down? You try to get guys from everywhere, but recruitment of Jacksonville, is that something that's important to UCF?
100%, especially after being up there when the time that I was. And I mean, you saw some of the guys that we brought in the Notre Dame, obviously Danny, Brody DeLamalore, who's now at Florida State, and we had Hunter Russell at Notre Dame. I think there's such good high school baseball in that city. And I saw it as a high school player. We went to the state 2 years in a row. We had to go to bowls to win one. The next year we come back, we play Inglewood, who had the great Brett Myers on it. And then my last high school game was at Bishop Kenny. We lost a 1-run game to Tony Ritchie and that crew. And that was only the second game we lost all year. So the amount of players that are up there that could help us in a power conference it's immense. And there's really good baseball. And of course, as many as we can bring down 95 that want to come to Orlando and play in the Big 12 and play at UCF, we will take.
I know you're not surprised at all at what Link Jarrett is doing. You're playing in this Tallahassee Regional. You hope to have a shot at Link down the line here in this regional, but his second year there, I mean, he's really got it rolling now, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's the best coach in college baseball. If you ask me, and I got to pick one, it's Link Jarrett. Just the feel for the team, the relationship with the players, the way he runs practices, game management, program development, player development. Like, he's elite at all of it. And he's an unbelievable person. So, like, all that stuff, and he got that roster right. That roster is pretty good. You got some Jacksonville guys on that roster, from Daniel Cantu and Delamar was on that. Connor Holtz, another guy that I recruited twice, once to JU, once to Florida State before I left. He's got it rolling.
Alex Lodice, Max Williams, you can go down the line at those guys.
I recruited those two as well.
That's right. Hey, what's your message to your team as you guys approach the Tallahassee Regional and try to move forward in this NCAA tournament, Coach?
Yeah, I think we talked about it the other day. Like, our conference helps us in this facet, because even the guy like Danny's played in them, he understands it. We got about 10 or 12 other guys that have played in these games. They understand what it feels like. But for those guys that don't know what it feels like, that game against Cincinnati, that game against Oklahoma State in the Big 12 tournament, some of our games on Friday nights and Sundays where a Big 12 series is being decided, that's what they feel like. So they may not have played in them, but they've played in things just like that. And our league kind of prepares you for that because of who you have to play, where you got to play them, the environments that happen, the intensity of every single weekend. Told our guys we played in 10 super regionals. In the Big 12, you're playing in 10 super regionals, and that's just what it is. So I think they're prepared in that part. And any NCAA tournament game, crazy stuff's going to happen. Yeah. Just play through it. Something crazy, whether you're up big, down big, just keep playing till the last out, and then we'll figure out. We'll let the dust settle, and we'll figure it out.
Danny, do you as players, do you feel that same way approaching this regional? How do you guys feel about it?
Sorry, I think I lost you for a second. Can you run that?
Yeah, absolutely. How do you and the players approach this Tallahassee Regional? How do you guys feel about going into this one?
We feel good. Like Coach said, we've been in a lot of big moments this year, and we have so much talent and so many guys on this team that we know can get the job done from top to bottom. Just got to take it one game at a time. I mean, I know that's a cliche, but that's the way it goes. I've been in regionals before, and every inning it seems like it's its own game. There's just so much that happens, and so many things can go right and go wrong. Just got to hang with it, and hopefully at the end of the weekend we come out on top.
Before I leave you guys, Coach, we're doing this on video, and I noticed the eye. So tell me what happened there.
Yep. So ninth inning of that Cincinnati game where everything's going wrong basically at the time. And I'm on the microphone, the walkie-talkie, trying to call the bullpen. So I step down, and you're obviously in the ground at Globe Life, and you can't see anything that's above it because they got banners in front of the netting. So I can't see the field. I do see out of the corner of my eye the left-hand hitter hit a ground ball. So I'm not thinking anything. He kind of tops it, and I'm on the mic trying to get one of our pitchers ready in that hectic ninth inning. And I'm looking up as I'm talking, and Coach Lopez, our catching coach, hitting coach, recruiting coordinator, standing right in front of me. And as I'm talking, I just see him at the last second get out of the way, and the ball hit me square in the face. I got a displaced fracture in my nose, 2 black eyes. Scare my kids when I wake up in the morning. My wife runs to the other side of the house, but I finished the game. We won the game. Coached all week with it. I think it's a good look, actually.
Well, hopefully you're going to be okay. But hey, guys, really appreciate a few minutes of your time. Rich Wallace is the head coach of UCF in his first season, taking his alma mater to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2017. Their first appearance as a Big 12 member. And Danny Neri is the catcher for UCF, a Jacksonville area guy from Bishop Snyder. wish you guys all the best. Thanks so much for a few minutes of your time tonight.
Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate it.